Hello, friends. Coming to you with another Astro forecast. This week, I'm talking about the week of July 20th through the 26th. It's quite a busy week. So, first up on Wednesday, Leo season starts. So, the sun is moving into Leo. Leo is both fixed and a fire sign. And so, what this means is the fixed signs happen in the middle of each season. So, Leo obviously is the one for summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern hemisphere. But each season follows an arc of cardinal energy, which initiates the season, fixed energy, which is the most intense, sort of literally fixed. It's the most solid expression of the seasonal energy. And then we move into the mutable sign for each season, which starts the dissolving and the transitioning. But we're not there yet. So Leo as fixed energy is very solid. It can be almost like stubborn or slow moving, but it's also very dependable and like consistent. And then as a fire sign, it governs expression, creativity, life force. And so those two together bring this sort of like intensity of heat of expression. Leo is ruled by the sun. And so if you think about that sort of like unrelenting quality of the sun, both for good and for ill, it's a very outward, fairly intense energy. And so, for all of us, what that means is we're being invited into like really sharing, shining, expressing the truest portion of ourselves. Leo really encourages, demands that one shines. For people who have Leo placements in their chart, they tend to naturally shine. And in its highest expression, Leo placements and Leo also encourages that out of everybody. And so for each of you, it will depend where Leo shows up in your chart, but you are being invited to express more, to shine more in whatever area that it governs. Then the next day on Thursday, Mercury stations direct. So we've been in Mercury retrograde these last 4-ish weeks. I don't know about you, but I have certainly been noticing the Mercury retrograde has been living up to its sort of the stereotype, the cliche. Lots of sort of like tech weirdness and unexpected slowdowns. At least where I live, a lot of that has been forest fire related, so that's so fun. But that that sort of crunchy, slow down, reconsider, reevaluate energy that we've all been in is shifting, and it's moving back to forward motion starting Thursday. So that will likely ease things up. If you've been running into lots of frustrations, if things have been crunchy and annoying, you can expect a little bit of that to shift and move with some more ease over the next couple of weeks. And then following that, on Sunday, Saturn stations retrograde. So not free of retrogrades. Saturn, like all the outer planets, spends about, it's not fully half of the year, but it's about a little bit more than 5 months of the year retrograde. So this is a longer, slower retrograde than a Mercury, Venus, or a Mars retrograde. And with Saturn retrograde, Saturn being the planet that governs consequences, responsibility, sort of building of things to last, uh, and like structures of our lives, of society. All these things are under Saturn's rulership. With it going retrograde, there's again this want to sort of like reconsider, reevaluate. All retrogrades indicate uh, a looking back, but particularly in the Saturnian realms. So we talked about this a little bit with the new moon last week, but this is another energy that invites us to like look at what we're building, look at what we have built, look at what we're planning on building, what we want to build, and like see if things need to shift, see if my temptation here is to use a knitting metaphor where, you know, if you're knitting along and you notice that there's errors in your stitches, you pull the stitches back up. It's called frogging. And Saturn retrograde has a little bit of that, like what needs to be frogged back? What do we need to go back to so that we can correct and build the thing that we most want to build in the most solid way? And so over these next 5 months, because, you know, again, it's not super fast, this doesn't have to be done quickly, but an invitation to like look at the structures of your life and if any of them actually need to be like pulled down to be shifted and rebuilt better. Then also on Sunday, the nodes are changing signs. And so I don't think I've had reason to talk about the nodes recently. So I'm going to give a bit of a primer on what they are. So the nodes are mathematical points. They're not an actual physical thing in our sky, but the nodes mark the points in the sky that are the ecliptic. So they govern where eclipses take place. When the sun and the moon are close enough to the nodes during a full moon or a new moon, that's when we get an eclipse. And the nodes at an esoteric level sort of are this path of like the direction that we are being guided, like personally in our natal charts and collectively, you know, at any given time with where they are. The north node is the pole, it's like a magnet, it's the direction we're going. And the south node speaks to what sort of already, like the ground that's already been tread and what needs to be shed or not fully shed, but like our reliance shifted away from. And right now, the nodes are, well, literally, as I'm filming this right now, the nodes are still in Pisces and Virgo. So we've had a series of Pisces and Virgo eclipses for the last couple of years. Now moving into the Aquarius Leo axis. And so we've already had an eclipse in that back in the spring. Sorry, I guess end of the winter. But we're going to be moving into more eclipses with this shift coming up over the next, actually over the next month-ish. But yes, so the nodes are moving such that the north node will be in Aquarius. And I've talked a lot about Aquarian themes over the last long chunk of time on this series, podcast, whatever you call it, because of Pluto being in Aquarius. But Aquarius governs the social and informational structures of our society. It's a deeply humanitarian sign. It talks about sort of what's good for the collective, what's good for humanity, what's needed so that the whole is tended to. And it sits in contrast, opposition to some extent, but you know, oppositions within astrology are not, they're not a zero sum game. They're not a this or that. They are a spectrum and a finding of balance. But Aquarius sits in opposition to Leo, that is about the self. It's about ego, not said as a bad thing, but ego, self expression, self identity, self focus. And so, with the nodes moving, such the North Node will be in Aquarius, we are being pulled into a time collectively, broadly, where we are being asked to put our energy and bring balance to more focus on the collective, on community, on, you know, global systems and connection in a way that supports the world. And so obviously that's a that's a big ask. But also part of the lesson of Aquarius is that we don't do these things on our own. Aquarius in the sort of shadow side or like not ideal expression can be almost isolationist. It can have a disconnect from community, the collective. But what it invites us into, what it asks us that we build together and we build for the whole. And so in this, it'll be a little bit over 18 months, approximately 18 months that the nodes are here. And the full series of eclipses will last longer than that. So during this time period, we are being deeply invited into how can we tend better to our communities? How can we tend better to humanity? How can we build systems that actually support people? So yeah, just a fun small thing to think about, but also something very needed in this current moment in history in which we're living. All right, dears, that is it for this week. I'll be back next week. And if anything sparked for you, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I always love hearing how this lands. Bye.